Okay, coaches, we are now going to talk about how to defend the naked or boot pass game out of quarters coverage. Always a topic of conversation among quarters coaches. How do you defend some of these naked boot pass concepts? So what we're going to do is we're going to take it through a few clips over here. This is 20 personnel. Now this is more of like a sprint out aspect. Okay, the corner is going to be locked on number one. Okay, this is almost like the flood concept we talked about earlier. Okay, this receiver is going to go 8 yards and push out. Once he gets past linebacker depth, the safety is going to have him. The linebacker is going to leverage number 3. Okay, which is right here. Pretty good coverage to start. Safety's got to get a little quicker and redirect. You know, one thing the safety has to do here, he's got to close. Right now he crosses linebacker depth, and that's a hard thing to tell safeties. They're so used to backpedaling, but in quarters coverage, they are flat foot readers. They have to drive on number 2. Similar here. Same concept off the boot action. There's a rollover out by number 2. Safety's got to drive on it. Outside linebacker has number 3. Mike linebacker plays a quarterback. That's something that needs to be addressed, especially with your linebackers at boot. You have to have somebody playing secondary contain on the quarterback. It's that important. Right now, this Mike linebacker sees it. It's coming off the edge. There it is again. Again, that's an easy throw. This linebacker just has to do enough to get hands on and pass his player off to the safety, then drive on the flat player. That's his responsibility. Right now, he's got to drive. He's got to be quicker, stick step, break step, plant step, T-step, whatever he needs, come downhill. Double tight formation. There's the boot. So here's a slam and a release. Right now, when the players close like this, it's easier for the linebacker to see it. Now, we talked about that. You know, that was a big topic of discussion when we conducted our research. How do you want to handle the slam release of number 2? Do you want to play it with the safety, whose eyes should be on the end man line of scrimmage, who's number 2 anyway, or do you want to trust that linebacker to play it? We found various responses. A lot of coaches will say, well, they kind of pass off each other. If this linebacker gets caught up in the run action, this safety is going to get his back, okay, he's going to take care of it. All right, so it really depends on what you're seeing and how your linebackers are trained. Right now, that linebacker is downhill in a hurry. There's no doubt about it. That safety now needs to take care of number 2 to his side. And he does. And you see the eyes of those backers. They don't see number 2. They're looking downhill. I mean, he's getting involved in the run game. This is Nebraska, typical boot out of pro. All right, here's the risk you take. You know, especially out of pro formations. Okay, those safeties are going to be squeezing downhill. You have number 1 locked up with the corner. Okay, you have to be able to play number 1 with that corner. We have the flat taken care of, the flat components taken care of. All right, but that's the big shot right there. It's a good thing the quarterback overthrows it. This we discussed earlier. This boot concept out of the play action. Again, you see the linebackers caught all the way up in the backfield. There's number 3 to the flat. Now, we did a lot of research on this stare drag, this tight end. We talked about how's the best way to defend the backside, okay, of this boot concept. Now, traditionally, it would fall on the shoulders of the Mike linebacker, okay, who would see run action, get out of the no cover zone, and get underneath any type of drag. What we found is a lot of coaches are training that safety to handle it. Because once he now crosses linebacker depth, it stays congruent with the quarter's rules. Now he becomes number 2 vertical. So that safety will probably wind up playing in most cases. See, right now the safety sees it. He has crossed linebacker depth, okay, and really you're working between these two safeties. There's no flat component here, so it doesn't force this safety to play to flat. All right, so now you have both of them converging on that drag. And of course, there's only number 1 to that side, so the corner went with him. Okay, here's the boot. There's a backside tight end on a drag. Looks like the safety's going to take it over here. Okay, looks like this front side safety's got over here. Outside linebacker's got to work to play number 3 to the flat, which looks like he does. Ball just gets out quick, outruns him. Now that's a tricky thing when you get boot. I mean, you get 3 to the, let's see if I get this. Okay, you have a safety taking care of this player. Now the outside linebacker's really got to work to number 3. That's the biggest issue if there's 2 flat components or an out and a flat component, like that flood concept we talked about earlier. That's pretty difficult. And this is just a good job by the safety getting over the top late. Here's a safety, gets caught up with the run action. He's able to redirect back outside. Does have an under front. So this is what we're talking about here. Now this safety, okay, is able to jump on the fullback out to the flat. This linebacker's caught up. He's on the line of scrimmage. He's a 9 technique. Can't expect him to play both there. Can't expect him to play the flat route. Then you see back here, here's the drag coming from the tight end across the formation. This safety to the tight end side is able to handle that. And you got to cover. I mean, you just got to make sure he sees it a lot quicker. And that's a hard thing for those. They got to see that, and they got to get on top of it pretty quick. There's a reason why the drag is the number 1 most completed ball in boot concepts, as reported by our survey and our research report a couple weeks back. Okay, corner's on top of number 1 here. Safety should be on top over here. This front side safety now should be driving on the flat route right here. Problem is there's nobody containing the quarterback, okay? Linebacker winds up, we got 2 guys playing the out route, the flat component. That's the problem. The quarterback's got room to run. All right, coaches, we appreciate your attention. Just some different ways to handle that boot or naked concept out of quarters coverage. Thanks for logging in.